Okay, and here we are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We now take the absolutely insane energy of Justajolt and point it at the Pacific Northwest coast of America, and hopefully there will be something left of the planet after they're done. So over to you, Justajolt, live from the Shonky Shed.
Who am I? Who are you?
He's ready. I wasn't ready.
You first with the coffee!
You have no proof as to what this is or is not. So yes, what?
Who's that? Who are you?
I don't have a character.
You're the captain! Justajolt, there are these crazy people on the stream! They're waving around toys and speaking! What does the speech bubble say? The speech bubble says, Justajolt, help me!
It's nerf or nothing. I fully agree.
Justajolt, I want you to take over!
Hello, Justajolt here, and hello to the captain, and hello to the battle scout. Battle scout, could you please throw yourself somewhere else because we don't really like you very much.
Yubby.
Actually, could you get Bret up here? Could you get Bret on here, please, for me?
No, it's just battle scouts now.
Just battle scout.
Before in my life.
Captain, I've got a question actually. Who is that on with this? Is that Bret or is that Bert?
I'm not even sure who you are.
Not even sure who I am. Should I introduce myself?
Probably a good idea.
Hello, Justajolt here, and we are live from the Shonky Shed, and it is absolutely superb to see all of you guys here. First of all, thank you, big thank you to everyone who's donated today, because it's been absolutely incredible seeing that we've already smashed our target. It's absolutely amazing, and this for me is one reason why I absolutely love the nerfing community. It is incredible to see us coming together, especially donating to Papyrus, because it is such a worthy cause. It has been a really tough last couple of years, and so it is absolutely wonderful for us to be supporting that. And without any further ado, we are now going to introduce our guests. And first of all, we have Beret or Bert here. I'm not even sure which one it is. I'm not sure. For all we know, it could have been Bert for all these years, YouTubing to us for the past 8 years or however long he's been doing this. And so we just don't know. Anyway, we don't know which one it is. We'll work that out later. And we also have Captain Xavier up there in that corner, as far as where I am. He's obviously not up there on your screen. He's just kind of there. Look at that. He actually shakes his beard better than I shake my hair. I would just like to say that. He shakes his beard better than I shake my hair. And the first thing that I would like us to do, for the benefit of those of you who don't know these people, I would like, first of all, the captain to introduce himself, how he got into Nerf, and what he feels his role is within the Nerf community. Then we're going to throw that question over to Beret as well. Beret, sorry. Beret, Bert. I'm going to be deliberately mispronouncing your name for this entire time, and we'll see if you take it. Awesome. So, over to you, Captain.
What was the question?
The question was,
how did you get here?
how did you get into Nerf, and what do you feel your role is within the nerfing community at large?
Well, I got into Nerf because of Humans vs. Zombies that was being played at my college just after I graduated. So me and my crew of miscreant mercenaries went back and played NPCs for them, and it escalated from there. My role? Do I have a role?
Yeah.
I make stuff.
Yeah.
Videos.
And you make stuff. So just to summarize what's just been said then, so as a result of college you got into Nerf and you ended up doing Humans versus Zombies and that kind of stuff, and that was what really kind of drew you in, and your role now is to make stuff within the nerfing community. And we're going to be talking a little bit later about different roles within the community and about how this community is awesome because everyone's got something to contribute. Just one more question actually, what did you study at college?
Computer science. I am a fully qualified software engineer.
We are going to have a lot to talk about. Sorry, what did you say? Computer science and what?
I am a fully qualified software engineer.
That is absolutely awesome. We are going to have a lot to talk about. You're kind of probably up here and I'm down here, but I'm all into software and I'm into computer science as well, and I teach it. Not so much into software engineering, more computer science at large, shall we say, but to a much lower level than you. Anyway, let's now move on to Bert. I would like you to tell me, please, what is you? So first of all, how did you get into nerfing, and what's your role in the nerfing community? Do you feel?
Yes, that's a good question. So it has been, close to 15 years now, probably coming up on 15 years ever since I got into Nerf. It was honestly just because I had a couple friends that were playing some Nerf games, and I probably wasn't even that interested at the time, but I went to kind of throw a party for a friend. There was a Nerf ambush, and it really just escalated from there. So it really grew for me through middle school and high school, so basically in my teenage years, and then it's just sustained itself because it's only gotten better and better, and the people have only gotten better and better, and I've done more and more stuff. And that really only grew for me through games. So I got into Nerf, honestly, just through small games, PvP games with friends, a little bit of tinkering here and there, the good old stuff. Never really did HVZ, unfortunately, because that would have been a lot of fun. But it was the games that got me into it. It was the games that started showing up on this channel and a few channels prior to this. That my earliest stuff was very janky, old style, low quality gameplay footage. But if you look a little bit deeper, or you ask me to recall it, there's a lot of heart that went into those games and experiences, and it's the reason why I still do what I do now. And I suppose at this time I would consider myself an entertainer, because that's what I've always set out to do on my YouTube channel, or just at events in general. I like to entertain folks. I like to have fun. I like to be silly. And I mean, all of us can relate to that on some different kind of level, differing levels of energy and different ways.
I'm sorry, can I just stop you right there? I don't know, the way you said that we could all relate to that. I don't think, if you look at Captain Xavier's face, do you honestly feel like he can relate to what you've just said? Captain, are you offended?
Well, he's starting to get.
I don't know anything in my entire life. Then I should be a silly person. I think is this berate person think he is?
So yes, he can relate. Or he judges. He judges harshly, but that's a form of entertainment too, I suppose. So yes, that's what I like to do now.
Think what you just said.
I'm not thinking right now, so no, I'm not going to rethink what I just said.
Absolutely fantastic. So, and I also have another couple of questions as well. So, I know that you just said that you like to kind of like be a little bit silly in Nerf Wars. How does that reflect on the content that you create for YouTubular type platforms?
Is that to me first?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's funny because the silly loadouts, that was a big part of the channel, and it became kind of a staple over the years, running silly loadouts, but it was always kind of there in some capacity when I was with my friends back in the day, just playing games. Yes, some of our loadouts were good, some of them were not. Obviously, we haven't gotten the amazing blasters out of the box until very recently, so a lot of the things that we would play with would just be kind of for fun, for the lulz, and that kind of just continued on in time. And I realized that, people like watching this too, because what I've always enjoyed about Nerf is seeing the silly stuff, right? Because it is nice to have the diversity of different loadouts. But what I also like to see other people use are things that I don't necessarily have, or also things that show up on camera. So that could be wacky builds, or just silly gameplay, not necessarily like the super competitive stuff, because I can watch that too. But I found what I enjoyed personally was the unique things, and so that's what I tried to bring to the table as well, because I felt that I had experience doing that, and I managed to find a way to bring others into that and continue it even dumber, and now I only get recommendations for silly loadouts, and that's my life, and I love it. Yay.
Can I just say, actually, that's a real achievement, because I guess a lot of us within the nerfing community, we try to kind of, showcase what we do in the communities in the Nerf Wars and stuff. But the thing is that if we publish just like Nerf War footage, that tends to not really do quite well. And I guess we're talking as YouTubers now, because that's one thing we've all got in common. When we publish Nerf War footage, it tends to maybe not do as well, and maybe tends to get elbowed out by, say, your Aranessa-esque type scripted stuff, which I still feel is incredibly valuable, because that's going to bring people towards the community. It edges them closer to where we are. But it's really difficult to do that, to publish it and have it do well. But you've cracked that. I really, really feel like you do that incredibly well, and like that actually gets suggested to me. I know it gets suggested to other people, and the amount of views you get on those videos is fantastic. And so well done for cracking that. That's wonderful. It's absolutely superb.
It seems like, yeah, it may have had that point, and you're right. There's a whole conversation to be had about like gameplay footage, and anyone who's ever posted gameplay footage can relate to that. I remember when I first did it, and it was just kind of cool to get like a couple dozen people like, oh, that's cool. Like I was the one coming back and watching it here and there because I personally enjoyed my own stuff. But yeah, it's so interesting because then you find like, oh, people don't necessarily want 18 minutes of me just walking around. I relate to it because I know exactly what's going on, but it is so hard to find a good balance of entertaining gameplay that others can understand what's going on and also would want to be engaging. But yeah, it's such a weird thing on YouTube, and you're right, like the big folks like Aaron Esser or PDK Films, they have obviously like the gameplay, but folks like us in the modding scene or just the Nerf community, I suppose, as you would call it, see it from a very different light, and it's weird. I learned that in Noir. That series seems to have done like a little bit better in time, but now we haven't had games for over a year for me to contribute to that. So progress ruined. Woohoo!
Absolutely. So Captain Xavier, you're also someone who's kind of cracked it in terms of getting content out there that people enjoy watching, that might also bring people towards the nerfing community. And I guess that's what I want to spend the first part of our time together talking about, is how we can bring people into the community through our activities on YouTube, and how other people through other media can also bring people towards the nerfing community. Because that's kind of what one of the big ways I see our role. We turn up to games, we play, we have a great time, but but there's also the element of putting the message out there so that other people can find the community as well. That's incredibly valuable. So Captain Xavier, what have you learned about making your content watchable, viewable, and enjoyable? Because quite frankly, I enjoy seeing what you can cram a K26 into. Right, that's fun. What have you got to say about making content that's kind of entertaining, that people want to watch? So that maybe other people can kind of learn something from it and also make content that brings people towards the nerfing community.
I tried to make a lot of my content viewer driven, so that's why a lot of my videos are based on surveys, similar to Brett's. I'd run that in a war. A lot of the what I do for K26 is generally what people have requested, and whether or not I have the blasters, but. Things like Range Day, they get to vote on what I do for Range Day, and I do a lot of other videos where, yeah, there's a survey involved, and they get to pick what my next video is going to be because they said this is something we want to watch, and so I do it. A lot of my other content is education-based. So while Can It Takes a K26 does have that, show, game show kind of aspect, it's also very much an educational of what blasters can and cannot be really easily modified. Because if you can just shove a K26 into it, that's an easy mod that just about anybody can do. And whether it takes K26 or it takes a different spring, at least we now know, yeah, this can be modified. And yes, if you put a heavier spring in it, it does improve the performance and all of that. The reassembly videos is one that I recently started and I've been very much enjoying. That one's also survey-based. What videos would you like to see an in-depth, complete teardown and complete rebuild of? And again, it's the blasters that most commonly get modified are the ones that people are voting for, or ones that people have opened up and then couldn't figure out how to put back together. And so those ones, and the entire Monday Mod series where I covered things like how batteries work and current versus voltage and all of that, those are things that I didn't know when I first got into the hobby. I had no idea what current was compared to voltage. And I made the same mistakes that most new modders make of, well, they just think, well, if I put more voltage in it, will go better, right? And that just isn't how it works. If you don't understand how current works, you are potentially building something dangerous because you can damage the batteries if you don't understand what current is and how it gets used.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Doing the educational stuff is one of my favorite parts of what I do. They aren't the ones that get the most views by any means, but the people who watch them are very vocal about how much they appreciate them. Every single one of my reassembly videos has
and that's a very interesting point, because there are a lot of people out there who I think want to make content, and I think it's tough, because you want to make what you want to make, right? You want to make what you think's fun. And it's quite hard, though, making stuff that's fun, but also making stuff that's going to kind of get promoted by this magical algorithm. And to be honest, I haven't got a problem. I know that sometimes there's a little bit of a cynicism behind maybe making content just for an algorithm, or just to get found, or just to get seen. But in terms of driving people, in terms of driving traffic that's going to benefit the nerfing community, I think it's something that we do have to think about. And one thing you both said there that was interesting. Sorry, I'm pointing to your screens because the way I'm looking at them, you're up there. One thing that you both said, we should actually, let's just do a little dance. Should we do a little dance? Let's do a little dance. I'm going to find Coop's intro music, and we're going to do a little dance to it. You ready? This is stuff you won't get anywhere else. You guys ready for this? I really hope this is going to come up on my stuff, on my thing. Where is it? Here we go. We'll do our little dance.
Copyright strike from Coop incoming.
There you go. Can you guys hear this? You got it? You hear it? Yeah. Handle's not big enough. Okay, so one thing you guys both said before we kind of got onto that was that yeah, it's really important to make user-driven content, and it's and it's tough. It's really hard to do that. Really hard to. I'm a little bit red in the face now. I shouldn't be this out of breath. Maybe I did have COVID. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, what I wanted to say was, what advice would you have for people who want to make content, and for people who specifically want to make content to drive people towards the nerfing community? Because one thing I think did Grim Up Nerf a lot of good, and I'm not saying this with any kind of sense of like pride, or well, it is with a bit of a sense of pride. But one thing that's worked well for Grim Up Nerf, I think, is having some regular content being put out there, and we kind of have people kind of like watching it. Oh yeah, we heard about this, and then they would come along to Grim Up Nerf. And that was nice. And I'm not trying to say that I'm the reason for Grim Up Nerf, because Grim Up Nerf and the whole nerfing community is a group of people, you know what I mean, which is more than just any one thing that's happening. But what would you say to people who want to make content to drive people towards the nerfing community, as experienced makers of that content yourself? We'll start with Bret now, then we'll move on to the captain afterwards.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think that's been posed quite a bit now, since some people found they had a little bit of extra time. But the number one thing I'll see, and that always makes me kind of take a few years back, is people will be like, oh, I want to make something, and then they ask, what should I do? And it's like, that, I think, is the problem. You have to kind of find what you want to do first. And I think all three of us have made very different types of videos in the past. Like you said, sometimes it's something that maybe is more like YouTube style, and other times it is purely based on, oh, I wanted to do this maybe because it's involved in the community, or people have a genuine curiosity. But it's still something that like you do because you're interested in doing it. Like I can say, like, from example, I've done things where it's just about like trying to make people laugh. Sometimes it's things that are more interesting. Sometimes, yeah, like a review video. But I still had like an interest in going like to do that myself. If I wasn't interested, I wouldn't really do it. That's why I don't like find every new blaster and review it.
So if you don't mind me trying to understand what you've said then. So what you're kind of saying is that there's got to be something that's kind of intrinsically rewarding. You can't kind of do it for a reason that's kind of out there in the future somewhere. It's got to be intrinsically rewarding. So I think one of the big misconceptions I get about YouTubers is the amount of money you make from it, or the benefits from doing it. I think that if you were to kind of take the number of hours you spend making a video and the number of hours you spent making videos, and then break that down by say ad revenue, you'd probably find some kind of a
profit.
Like I don't know, any kind of
profit. You're right. It needs to be something. And like I said earlier, gameplay footage. I'd watch my old gameplay footage because I have an interest in that investment. I just saw someone saying in the chat too, like trying scripted versus unscripted stuff. That's just getting a little bit more into it. But I'm sure all of us approach that from a little different. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I'll do something that's more scripted, and sometimes you'll just do it off the cuff. It's finding like what works best for you and what what will you want to be proud of putting out there? Because the assumption is either no one will see this or everyone can see it. So if you're going to see it, what do you want to do? And if you figure that out, if it's like you in the camera or just your hands doing something, but you enjoy doing it, then that's all you really need to.
I think you're absolutely spot on. I mean, like for me, my kids watch my stuff and they giggle at Daddy being silly, right? And that's great. That's fantastic when Daddy, I don't know, lobs a Nerf blaster or something. Yeah, that's wonderful, intrinsically rewarding. Let's go over to the captain now. What have you got to say about that? So what do you think is an important thing for people to bear in mind who might want to use their content to promote the hobby or make content to do so?
I think the first thing is that you have to be making videos that you, like we've all said so far, that you want to be making. Because if it's obvious that you're not enjoying the content you're creating, people are going to see that. They're going to know that you don't care about what you're doing.
I'm just seeing big nods in the chat as well from Beret as well.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to be something like I said, a lot of my videos that I am most proud of aren't the ones that get all the views. Some of them are. Obviously, the minigun was one that I was very proud of, and that one went absolutely viral. But my second most watched video was this thing. And for a while, it was my most...
I love that. I love that so much. That is awesome, the tactical jolt.
Why is that?
Jolt, with some lead on to it. And I did it as a joke. Entirely as a joke. Because I was putting stocks on blasters that I actually wanted to put stocks on. Things like the Twin Shock, which I don't understand why no Mega Blaster has a stock attachment point on. And so I'm using out of Darts' Artemis stock attachment points to attach stock attachment points to these big chunky blasters that needed it. And someone in the comments said, you should put one on a Jolt. And I went, sure, why not? And I did. And it went nuts. The other videos that I make that are I think 7 out of my top 10 most viewed videos are Goodwill runs, which absolutely baffles me. Why do so many people like watching an old beardy guy buy blasters at a thrift store? At the same time, those are the videos that get the most hate and anger of all the videos that I make.
Sure.
It's weird. But yeah, it needs to be content that you want to make, because otherwise you're going to get sick of making it. Especially if you don't make it big. When you get to the 1 million subscribers, yeah, you're now making lots and lots of money, and you'll probably make whatever content continues to make money. My channel isn't what I do for a living. I have a wonderful career that pays my mortgage. YouTube just buys my toy. So I make the content that I want to make, that I enjoy making.
That's awesome. I think that's a really important message, because I guess one thing you can do if you're doing something you don't want to do is become burnt out. And I guess that's the same as that's whatever you're doing. And one thing we don't want to do is have people kind of, I guess, join the community and then burn themselves out trying to kind of keep up with the Joneses, as it were, in terms of views or in terms of subs, or even just in terms of how they nerf. And I think that's one thing that kind of stands us apart from a lot of other communities. I know that there are 1 or 2 members of the airsoft community here in the UK who've joined us at Grown Up Nerf, and they say that it's really, really refreshing to not have to kind of conform to a certain way of being, not to have to dress a certain way, have certain gear in order to be accepted. And I kind of feel like that's one thing that we as a community do incredibly well. It's like I see you, Captain, Nerf warring with this incredibly high-tech gear. Yes, you. I'm talking to you, wearing
sure, I don't know what
using this incredible gear, which is kind of mounted all over the wall behind you, wearing the most incredible stuff. And I see people turning up to Grown Up Nerf as well with this incredible gear, wearing incredible stuff, looking absolutely phenomenal. And then I see people like Bret, and I guess I can kind of identify with you a little bit more, just running around with a silly little blaster, enjoying getting, cheap tags that cost you a lot more in energy than it does other people. Do you know what I mean? It's wonderful, and that's all great, that's all brilliant, and that's what it's all about. Sorry, Captain, you wanted to say something?
No, I have seen Bret dressed as a banana, armed with nothing but a banana, take out someone with a caliber.
Look, it's a hard life. Someone has to live it, and if someone's going to have to do it and they're going to post it on YouTube, that's going to be me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Look, between you and me, though, Captain, I mean, this guy, to be fair, is an engineer. And so what he's done... Is that right, Brett? You an engineer?
Yeah, and I bring none of that at all to this hobby. So
No, fully disagree. Before the Nerf Wars, he sat down, he's worked out all the maths. He's got himself a little whiteboard that he's worked all the maths out on. And when you see him fling that banana, there is a whole lot of stuff that's gone on beforehand. So I'm not going to take any kind of modesty or anything like that from that beforehand. That's just disingenuous, and yeah, there's a lot more that goes on.
Standing at End War, armed with nothing but a Maverick. I mean,
that Maverick, it was so humidity-ridden hot in Georgia. That was a whiteout Maverick, and I peeled the paint off that handle. I don't know.
What I mean? It was part of his plan. He calculated that. He knew that
sweaty.
he would be affected by the paint and by the lacquer. So he peeled it off. He's done the maths. There's no excuse. That's why. There's a lot more hard work that goes into you than meets the eye. Don't think you're fooling anyone. That banana costume, you're like Boris Johnson. He waves his flappy hair around. He's really, really silly. But there's an evil genius behind there. No, not behind there. He's not there. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, still talking about bananas now. I actually want to test your guys' Nerf warring skills. Because I've actually set up a little target range here, and I would like to have you guys please try to use this target range and try to hit certain targets. I don't know how much of it you can see. I want you guys to get the best weapon you can and prepare to try and hit something on my target range. Okay, that is perfect. That is brilliant. So we're going to have Captain Xavier going first. Captain Xavier, if you would like to... No, you can use that. You just need to make the noise. You can use that. You just need to make the noise. I'm just going to move my heater out the way, otherwise this could get really dangerous.
Minigun goes Bert.
Okay, there is a question connected to each one of these targets on the target range, and depending on what you hit, that depends on what the question's going to be. So, Captain Xavier, you get to go first. I would like you to take careful aim, and get ready to shoot as accurately as you can. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it looks to me like you hit the A&W root beer can there, amongst other things.
What a coincidence.
So the question now is what is your favourite beverage for refreshing yourself in the course of a Nerf war? How do you refresh yourself in the course of a Nerf war?
Water,
just good old H2O. What do they put in the water where you live?
fluoride.
Root beer.
That explains a lot. Okay, Beret, now your turn. What are you going to be firing?
I got this piece of high technology, advanced weaponry.
Is that Lego?
Did you get your own?
I bought my own. I already made a video with it too. Coming soon. Yeah.
It's absolutely superb. That is absolutely superb. Okay.
It's dumb. Don't buy this.
Can confirm.
I'm watching you breach load it as well. That is awesome.
But I've had some fond memories. That's why I got it. So yeah, here we go. The handle sucks.
Ready?
Where am I aiming? Where?
You aim for whichever target you want, and whatever you hit.
Okay. Careful, it's a loud. It fires pretty loudly, so don't blow your ears out.
Ready when you are.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so it looks to me.
I got there faster than I thought.
When you hit the Nerf flying disc.
Oh, good lord!
Nerf flying disc. So my question to you is: if you could go back in time, what would be the Nerf item that you would stock up on that isn't available anymore for you to use in Nerf wars right now? If you could go back in time.
Gosh, that is an excellent question. I think in the spirit of rockets, I was going to say something ballistic ball related, but I think we have enough of them now, so I'm not going to say that. Things like the rockets for the... Oh, why is the name eluding me? Mattel. The Ultimator, yeah. Wow, it is early, I guess. The Ultimator rockets. They're the Titan style rockets, but now they're super rare, just like the blasters. But yeah, he's only got 4 of them, so that's clearly not enough. But they always just seem to fall apart, and if you find a blaster, you never find the ammo. So at least we can find
absolutely.
Titan rockets.
And it's actually really, really hard to make them too. I think I saw actually a video on Captain Xavier's channel where he made a bunch of rockets, and I tried as well. I found some insulation and I tried, but they don't work that well. It's just insulation with a bit of duct tape over the end. It doesn't work that well, but anyway.
I don't want to say what that looks like here. It's kind of dangerous.
It's like, yeah. Anyway, get rid of that. Captain Xavier, your turn now. Your turn. Right, so whatever you want to use, you can use a different blaster, you can use the same blaster. Oh my goodness, is that like a fully? That is gorgeous. That is wonderful. That is. Look at that. Look at that. Is that an Aquila?
Yeah, that's an Aquila.
What, Warhammer, right?
Oh yes. Somebody sent me this. And
what faction? What do you like to play with in Warhammer?
I just watch the videos. I don't actually play.
Okay, no problem. That's also a good thing.
I was asked, what faction would I be if Captain Xavier were in Warhammer? And it's
Warhammer. Well, if Captain Xavier were in Warhammer, you'd either be Imperial Guard or probably Imperial Guard. Actually, that's what I would say.
I do want to make an Imperial Guard captain cosplay. I also want to make a Commissaire cosplay. But if I were anything in the world, it would be a rogue trader, because mercenary. And here we go.
Ready? Okay, so Captain Xavier's aiming now. Count us down.
Yep.
And it looks to me like you hit the Nerf Fortnite. Nerf Fortnite 6SH is what you hit. So I would like to know now, what is your favourite Nerf Fortnite blaster, Captain Xavier? Putting you on the spot. What is your favourite Nerf Fortnite blaster?
These are tough questions.
The purple submachine gun.
The purple submachine gun. I like it. That's a good answer. Why the purple submachine gun?
Because it's purple.
Because that is a good answer. Do you know what? I used to ride motorbikes when I was younger, right? And so I was looking through this motorbike magazine, and my mum looked over my shoulder, and she was like, "Oh, that's a really nice one. Oh yeah, why do you like that?" And it was one of the old Triumphs. It was one of the old 3-cylinder Triumphs that was pink. She was like, "Oh, it's pink." So that for me is a brilliant answer. Right. Beret. Is that a banana on your head?
No, it's a waffle. Why do you ask?
Oh, I was just wondering if you were about to throw a banana at the target range.
I could. I want to put you on the spot. That blaster, I missed your review. How is it? You just held up the little thing for it. I missed it because, Foam Fest.
I can show you very briefly now. I'm not gonna bore all these wonderful people with too much talk about.
Monkey, dance.
Okay, let's talk very, very briefly about this. So actually, you can tell it's absolutely massive. The handle is very, very big, which will please some Nerf reviewers within the community. And so, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the handle is massive. Look at it on me. I've probably got medium-sized hands, and yeah, it's still quite easy to prime and fire though, which is awesome. And yeah. And so it's a pleasant enough blaster to use, roughly hammer shot equivalent. And what's really nice is you can actually just shave off these little lips here so that you can put this on and take it off whenever you want to. And it's a fun looking blaster. I'll tell you one thing that I really didn't enjoy though. One thing that I feel cheated by. Look at this.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the gripes.
See what it says on the box here? It says you get this what is it? Camo pulse wrap. There was no camo pulse wrap in my box. Liars!
Swindled! Are you telling me that's not a barrel attachment?
Completely fun blaster which does the job. There you go. Hit one of Mr. T-Rex's eggs right there. Which of course I was aiming for. Anyway, Beret, it looks like you got a pair of scissors there. Is that right?
I've got things that I shouldn't have. Correct. Yeah.
A pair of scissors. Give me a quick moment. If you would like to throw those at the target range, you can feel free.
Don't do this in real life. I'm a trained professional. All right, 3, 2, 1. Thankfully, I shouldn't have done that either. Oh, my waffle!
You hit the Viking helmet, so I'm now going to ask you, what is your favourite Bobo Lolo video?
My favorite Bobo video, if I could speak. Oh gosh, what is my favorite Bobo video? I know I have one. I'm just thinking through a few of them. I have always watched his reviews when I was curious about things, and we seem well aligned. However, The American Stampede, the Communist Stampede are great, but there's another one that I'm missing. It might be, I don't know if he was the one who did this or it was with Nom. It was like 12 Days of Nerf Miss. Was that something he did? There's some stuff that he's put out that I don't know how much into detail I can technically get here, because it might be erring on the side of slightly inappropriate. Unfortunately, that's what I've enjoyed.
Can I ask you maybe then both of you a bit of a follow-up question on that? So back in the day, and so when I got into nerfing, 3D printing wasn't a thing, and I know that both of you guys have possibly been nerfing for longer than I have. Actually, I think both of you definitely have, because you, Beret, have been making videos for much longer than I have, twice as long as I have, probably. Definitely more than twice as long as I have. Doing the maths, I should be able to do that. And
why would you do that, sir? Why would you do that? It seems rather unprompted.
Yeah. I know as well that prior to you starting up on YouTube, you were nerfing for a long time beforehand as well. And I guess back in the day, modding used to be a lot more about kind of integrations, and it still is. But now there's a lot of 3D printing involved, and so if you want a part or if you want a blaster, you haven't necessarily got to build that out of other blasters. You can just 3D print the parts, and you can engineer it in other kind of ways. How do you guys feel like that's kind of progressed the community, or do you feel like it's kind of how do you feel like that's changing the way we do things? Let's go first to the captain, then to Beret.
I love it.
You love it.
I'm a gizmo nut. I like technology. I actually really wasn't modding nearly as much back before that technology existed. I mean, some of my early mods were things like, I did IRE without any 3D printing. That's all hardware store stuff. But I came to Nerf from Medieval Recreation, so I already had a full metal shop and all of the tools necessary to do that and to work metal. And so even today, where I could do 3D printed, I'm more likely to make something out of sheet metal than to 3D print it, because it is way stronger. The vast majority of the things holding this together are actually sheet metal, not 3D printing. There is a lot of sheet metal parts that I have added to connect all of to do my integration, rather than like epoxy putty or 3D printed. I'll connect it with metal.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a completely different paradigm altogether.
Yeah. I love what 3D printing has done to the hobby, because it has allowed us to create things, and people have created entire businesses purely around 3D printing parts.
And I would argue, in addition to that, because of maybe the competition of other people printing their own parts, you've now got certain companies, not all, but certain bigger manufacturers taking note and saying, "Oh, hang on a second, there's a market here," and actually, Nexus, Dart Zone, there's a lot of interesting things happening that's maybe being driven by these companies seeing that, well, sisters are doing it for themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. What Dart Zone has done, the niche market that they've decided, hey, Hasbro's not going to touch these modders with a 10-foot pole. Let's get in on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's hear from Beret then. What do you think? By the way, I've counted about 6 different ways I've pronounced your name so far, and it's going to carry on rising.
Good, they're all wrong. My final answer, previous one as well, is 12 Days of Nerf Miss, so shout out to Bobo, of course. 3D printing, is an interesting one, and I remember seeing other mods like popping up online, because I was getting into Nerf at a younger age. I wasn't going to those kinds of events. Like I mentioned, it was small scale for me, but I was aware of what was going on, and even then I wasn't doing as much of that modding side. We were very less advanced on that front. I had someone who did like brass breeches, but I was the kind of guy to do like the penny mod with the Maverick, so I dabbled a little bit, and it's weird for me to talk about it now too, because my channel especially, and I'm not really known for any modding at this point. Woo, again, bringing engineering to the table here. But I think 3D printing is a good tool, and I've seen exactly what Chayla said too. Like, a lot of folks have made their own businesses with it. I obviously have been the recipient of many amazing 3D printed blasters, and it's really, really cool to see what people continue to put out. And just that extra level of design, the mindset of, oh, you didn't make this, Hasbro, well, I'll make it myself. Is
Hasbro wish they thought of that.
Hasbro wish they, yeah, how did I not say that? Okay. It is really inspiring to see what people come up with, but it's obviously not necessarily a replacement for the old school stuff. And I think people who want to use old school modding techniques will continue to do that, as long as it doesn't get like lost to time. I'm sure there are resources for that. But I think 3D printing has really changed the modding scene in a good way. And as long as we can continue to educate new folks that it's like, it is a tool, it's not the only thing, because there are other things you can do, like you don't have to print that piece, you can go make this yourself, then I think it's all well and dandy. But it's amazing how, what has it been, like 5 years since this really took off as a thing that wasn't just like major companies doing it, just users, because 3D printing technology has also just grown so rapidly. For people like us who could just purchase a printer, get good, and then print what they want. It's the get good part, though, that really separates
yeah, well,
high quality creatives.
Like people were saying earlier, wasn't it? Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I believe that you both had 1 turn each or 2 turns each?
Yes.
Yeah,
What's you? Ring, it's Jolt's turn.
Is it Jolt's turn? Okay.
I don't know, it is now.
Okay, I'll tell you what then, Beret, why don't you throw that banana on my behalf, and then you each get to ask me a question, and then we've actually got a few more important things to do before our time's up, okay? We've got some really important business to take care of. So if you'd like to throw that at the target range, and then you get to decide what the meaning of the esoteric meaning of the thing you hit is. Ready?
Perfect. 1, 2, 3. Oh, shit.
You hit the Japanese target of joy. So you each get a question. No, actually, you've got to hit the target first. So Beret gets a question, and then Captain Xavier gets a question after.
The sun is waking up. Oh, we're asking you a question?
You're asking me a question now. Is that what you want to do?
That's what I wanted to do. Questions, yes. Things, jolts, man, do stuff. What is your favorite video you've ever posted on your channel? We were talking a little bit about that earlier. What does well, but in terms of what your favorite thing you've done, has it agreed or disagreed with the algorithms?
I think it's fair to say that the favorite things I've done have definitely disagreed with the algorithms. Some of my favorite content. And it's interesting because I've actually got yours and Captain Xavier's YouTube channels up here, and I was looking at them, and I know that you've spoken like with a lot of fondness about your kind of early Nerf war footage. I really enjoy watching some of the earlier kind of Grim Up Nerf footage, especially since lockdown. And of course, in terms of the algorithm doesn't really agree with that, and so I would say that I took a lot of pride in doing that early footage. And I really enjoyed it, and I'd agree with you on that. Actually, I think it's probably one of them. Specifically, there was a video I made where I kind of jumped out of some bushes with a Nerf Raven, and got a couple of people, and it was such an insignificant event in the grand scheme of things. But that particular scene was something I really enjoyed making, and I just really enjoy reviewing stuff and enjoying Grim Up Nerf. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy making myself laugh and my wife laugh and my kids laugh with some of the stuff I make now, but I really enjoy the Grim Up Nerf stuff, and I think, the algorithm didn't agree with that. Good question. You should be doing this. Why aren't you doing this? Captain, I would now like you, if you got some kind of a chocolate bar you could maybe throw?
Do you have your old chocolate Nerf blaster? I remember that video.
Close enough. Let's do it. You hit something. You know what? I'm going to say you hit the Battle Scout. You hit the Battle Scout, so you get to ask me a question about something that is... I've got no idea.
What is your favorite blaster?
Do you know what I thought you were about to say there? I thought you were going to say, what is your name? I genuinely thought you were going to say that. Right. My favorite blaster right now is... I'll get it for you. My favourite blaster, and this is to Nerf War with as well, it's this 4 victory right here. This 4 victory that Monkey Trunk Collective made look beautiful for me. And I love using it. I love the fact I can run around with it and just front load and just tag people in probably a similar sort of way to the way that Beret does it. So yeah, that was a good question. You're getting to eat yours now, whereas I'm not getting to. No. I'm sorry. Boff, could we please just show everyone what Beret's doing and how wrong it is? You really shouldn't be doing that. No, that's just no.
I can always grab my second one too if you want double.
No. Okay, that's too much. That's too much. We've got some things to do. Okay.
I like seeing where you draw the line.
There are children.
No, I'm sorry. We're not even right. We're moving on right now, and I'm actually going to share my screen because we've got an important responsibility today. Basically, there is a trick shot competition, and it is our responsibility to judge this trick shot competition. So what I'm going to do is share my screen right now. Which, if you can't see it on chat, you should be able to see it on the Twitch stream. And we're going to watch each of these videos, and you have to choose which of these trick shots you think is the best. Which trick shot really gets your heart riled up? So we're going to start off with this one here. You ready? Ready for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Full screen.
Can you see it? Full screen. Yeah, full screen. Here we go.
Full screen.
I'm trying to. I feel like I'm back in school again. Right, that's as full screen as we're getting. Look at that. Reverse shot. So over his shoulder, off the wall. Wow.
No wall.
And that was actually quite incredible there from Monkeytron Collective. So that's our first one. Let's go on to our next trick shot now. Our next trick shot is, oh no, is it going to do this to the page every time? 1 second. Go down, 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 said the witch. You guys ever read that book? Or is it just me because I've got kids at home? Come on.
You've got kids.
Or just me because I've got kids at home?
Recently.
Right, let's have a look at the next trick shot. That's one that I've posted, so let's do some of the others just in case we don't have time for them. Right, so here's another one. We're going to full screen it. Put it on full screen, Sarah. There we go. Here we go. This looks like a guy with a Maverick, possibly.
Actually, I believe it's a Kronos. I've seen this
Is that
video.
a Kronos? Oh, you're right. It is a Kronos.
And he's particularly happy because I believe he is in fact using X-shot ammo.
Oh,
And,
wow. You know what? I've heard that's compatible.
Yes. And actually really quite good. But currently out of stock.
So that last one, he actually hit 2 at the same time with the same shot.
Sure looks
That's
like
actually genuinely pretty good. That's genuinely pretty good. Okay, let's check out the next one then. Okay, now we've got the Games of Foam trick shot right here. So let's just full screen that as well. Here we go. There it goes. So we're blasting. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, it's a homing dart. That's impressive. It's like on Perfect Dark. Chasing him down.
This is making me envious of the field. Yeah, good.
This is just the quality of play we always experience at Britnerf. You guys don't know you're born in other parts of the world. This is how it always is. This is why we're superior nerfers, you see. Look at that. Slow motion replay.
Looked like it kept going at the end too. It just didn't care.
That was pretty incredible. Yeah. It's just part of the game. It's just what he does. That's what we do. We're all like this in Britnerf. Okay, now this one from Louis N10. So let's do this. Oh, Art CHN here. So off we go. I've just realised we could also have sound potentially. There we go. So.
Is that a meteor?
I do believe that was a meteor, and that was actually quite impressive. And so he came in, spun himself around, and then successfully shot 2 targets. I thought that was quite good.
He was holding something over his head the whole time too. Could he see?
Yeah, he had something over his head the whole time as well. So that was pretty good. So let's have a look now. Ryan Baldwin, this is from, who is a member of Team Tropicana, and he says nothing too fancy.
But how can you tell he's part of that team?
Oh, it's part of Team Tropicana.
Is it his outfit? I can't.
You can just tell by the fact that you look at him and need sunglasses. Bouncing off, ricocheting off all kinds of walls here. There we go, Tropicana Thunder right there. Absolutely incredible, ricocheting off all kinds of walls. That was Team Tropicana. Team Tropicana, by the way, one of the UK's premier Nerf teams. We have another one. So this is Michael Gonzalez. Reverse shooting now. That was pretty impressive. That was pretty impressive. Is there more? Oh my goodness! Now we're getting another one now with a Centurion.
Well.
Okay. Is there any more? Oh my goodness! There's another one now as well with something else.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Nerf do something like this or advertise like some sort of behind the back shooting? Maybe I'm wrong.
I think that was called Dude Perfect.
It was, okay. I thought it was some like challenge that went around that was like originated from someone affiliated with Nerf, but Dude Perfect would also make sense.
I'm not sure. They probably did, to be fair. So
free advertising.
Let's have a look. So what's going on here?
Oh dear.
Okay. All right. So
memes.
And what I'm going to say is, it does look like we've got a little bit of time to play my kind of entry to it as well. But this isn't part of the competition. All right. This isn't part of the competition. Okay. Although you have to confess, it was quite impressive. Okay, so let's just turn the sound off of that, screen down, and stop sharing. So we have a couple of minutes now to deliberate. What do you think was the most impressive trick shot that you saw? And brilliant, and we've got the judges wig there as well, which is entirely necessary in this situation. So let's have a bit of deliberation then. Just to remind ourselves what we had. We had the spinning wheelchair. We had games of foam ricochets. We had that kind of, what was it? We had the guided dart. We had the building destruction of Monkeytron Collective, which I personally feel was maybe a little bit morally ambiguous, but we'll kind of gloss over that. We had the shooting of the soldiers, and we had the bouncing of the dart off the wall back into the camera, and we had the shooting behind the back. So they are our options, and they're the things that we need to consider. And are there any first impressions? Any impressions in terms of what really stood out to you as just plain impressive?
Well, the one shooting over the shoulder was the only one that felt like it was actually a trick shot. The rest was just clever editing, which is clever, but I like the one who actually did an impressive over-the-shoulder shot.
And so we're saying that technical skill counts for something right here. Technical skill.
Yes.
But therefore, so was the one who shot himself back in the face. I think it is interesting. There's a few different categories.
The question is, did you do that on purpose?
I think, given our experiences, we can say that that's not always on purpose. You may have only had to try that once, and sometimes it just happens.
This is true. The blindfold wheelchair shot was also impressive, being able to spin himself around and hit the target while blindfolded. That was also very impressive.
So we've got a vote maybe for a vote for the spinning wheelchair. We've got a vote for the the over the shoulder. Mm-hmm. Beret, you've been quite silent about this. It's almost like you're worried that some of these people are going to come after you with their laser-guided, building-destroying darts.
That's right. I'm worried about people across the pond coming to get me in this day and age at this time of year.
You'll be outside your house. In the meantime, we'll be kind of swimming up to the shore and gradually emerging from the water like they do in all those films.
Yeah, I might not sleep tonight. I will put my vote in again for the one that made me laugh, the one bouncing off the wall and hit him in the face. It's too relatable, but it was also well done. Because you got a very good picture of it, and sometimes it's not as easy to tell. It didn't go necessarily into the face, it went into the camera. And from a person who likes to record gameplay footage, nice.
That's a special moment, okay.
Yes, very
also have someone else who'd like to have some input as well.
I thought they were all rubbish! I have the best trick shot of all time, and I'm going to show you!
But Mr. T-Rex, this is hardly appropriate.
Watch me! Ah!
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. T-Rex, but that was actually quite incredible there. So, yeah. I think we're going to ignore what Mr. T-Rex had to say. I think that I'm going to adjudicate this one then. I did really like the one that bounced off the wall back into the camera, because I love those kind of moments, and they're very unique. The wheelchair one was pretty cool, because to be able to spin that fast and be dizzy in the first place, also that's, and then even being able to hold the blaster straight. So even if he could see through the blindfold, being able to hold the blaster straight after subjecting yourself to that is a pretty big deal. But the one I'm actually going to go for, though, is definitely the over-the-shoulder one, because the over-the-shoulder one, in my opinion, was pretty darned epic. Okay, guys, we've only got a couple of minutes left together. So what I would like to do is I would just like to have you guys help me clear up my shed. We're just going to pick one package from a random pile, open it, and then I want you to review it briefly. Okay? So I'm going to take my camera. There's a pile of packages down here, and I want you, please, to and I want one of you guys to choose one of these packages, all right? And then we're going to open it, and you guys are going to say something about what's in the package.
In the middle, by the waterfall.
In the middle, by the waterfall. Do you mean the black one?
Obviously
the black one. Okay, let's go with that one then. All right. Now, I don't actually know what's inside these packages either, because it's been so long since I've ordered them that it could literally be anything, and we could be incredibly disappointed by what we find here. We don't know, but you are helping me to clean my Shonky Shed. All right, that's what's going on. So let's open this up. Awesome. And just by the way, I happen to know that Beret, you are on TikTok. Is that right?
Oh dear, are we having this conversation with only a minute left?
How do people find you if they want to watch you do TikTok?
Yeah, that's right. I've just transitioned everything to TikTok. I feel like it's the future for not only the hobby, but everything. So you can find me on TikTok at beret.narf.
And absolutely right. And let's be honest, right? There are kids right now who are watching these TikTok videos. Okay, there are kids right now who are watching these videos who are going to be in the nerfing community in a few years' time, and that's how they're going to find us. And so people like Sophie and some of the other guys who are doing stuff on TikTok, that's how they're going to find them. So this was what was in this package. Look at this.
The classic.
How old is that?
Ooh, prestige.
So that's kind of funky. So that was a good choice. And you have just helped me clean the Shonky Shed. My shed is a little bit cleaner because you guys were here. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Guys, it's been absolutely phenomenal chatting to you guys. And I'm just sorry we couldn't go on for longer. I know it's early for you guys, but I am wide awake and I've really enjoyed just interacting with you. It's great to just talk to anyone in the hobby, but especially people that I guess bring other people into the community as well. That's absolutely wonderful. So yeah, I'm just going to talk inanely now until Boff cuts me off.
us for community news, mods, members, and more. Thank you Foam Fest Live for once again supporting Women of Nerf.
Welcome back to Foam Fest Live 2. We continue our segment live from the Shonky Shed, but with Justajolt, with guests Foam from Above and the Fluffy Rainbow Unicorn Soldiers. Over to you, Joel.
Justajolt! There are more people in your shed! Who are you? You with the coffee mug, who are you first?
I'm Foam from Above, and or F2A. I'm a blogger out in the States, so nice to be here.
Justajolt! It's F2A!
Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, F2A. That was very rude of Mr. T-Rex. That was actually my job. Hello, Justajolt here. Brilliant to be here. We are here with F2A, and we are here with some fluffy unicorns all the way from Bonnie, Scotland and the United States. So what I'd like us to do, please, is introduce ourselves one by one. F2A already started doing that, so I'll let him continue. So you're a blogger from the United States, and if you could also please let us know what your kind of presence online is, because I know that you're obviously a blogger because you've just said it, but what other platforms do you find yourself on, and how else do you promote the Nerf community?
So you can find me at Foam from Above on Instagram. It's my same tag for across my channels. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and actually I've had probably better luck there. You can find me at YouTube, but I don't use that as much as I used to. And Facebook. Which I'm pretty active on still, posting there and cross-posting. But it's all under Foam from Above, pretty much. And as far as the community goes, pre-COVID and probably pre-2-year-old, I was playing a lot with a group in Wisconsin. I tried to check out Nerf arenas that actually popped up near me. There's a couple. I did make a couple of trips out to different out-of-state ones. So yeah, just been trying to look for who's playing and what they're doing.
And can I just ask you another question as well? Because I know that there's probably a lot of younger people watching this too. And the thing is that prior to TikTok, prior to even, I guess, you know, all of these modern newfangled things, you've actually been kind of writing blogs about Nerf and kind of involved with Nerf for quite a while. Is that true?
Probably more than I'd like to admit. I started my actual website up in 2005, but I contacted with the Nerf brand in 2009, or no, like 2009, 2010, just at the Nerf Dart Tag League when that first started and it was touring. And I'll claim that I was one of the first people on the internet and in social media that that the Nerf brand was working with. Went to Toy Fair after that. I think I was one of the first bloggers and Nerf community folk that actually went. There was a few posts on that made it to Nerf Haven and everything beforehand, but as far as like strict blogging and making contacts with brands at the time, it's like, yeah, I was there like way early. So
that's superb. I just felt it was really important to add some context for people who are listening who might not kind of, you know, be aware of, like, you know, blogs having been a thing at some point. So that is absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much. Right, so now let's move over to our slightly fluffier, unicornier guests as well. And by the way, I have something for you guys to take a look at, which you guys might really like. I'd like you first of all to introduce your cat, if you wouldn't mind, and then move on to yourself.
This is Butters. He is the unicorn's cat, who's
Hello,
obsessed
Butter.
every single time with any video call. So he'll be up and down non-stop the whole way through. I feel Marshal Fluffy, by de facto leader of the Fluffy Rainbow Unicorn Soldiers. We started nerfing just as a joke for so long ago. We thought we'd try it. I started LARPing originally, then got into Nerf. And we originally decided to have an idea of what should we name ourselves as a team. And after decision making that something like Murder, Death, Kill Squad was seen just too harsh, we went for something slightly more fluffy, resulting in this.
I need to ask you, actually, are you LARPing right now, or is this just real life? How do you tell the difference?
Usually, if it's LARPing, I'm usually a lot more black.
So this is real life, and so in other
real life.
words, you're a fluffy unicorn normally, and then you LARP sometimes and go and be something else.
Exactly. I mean, it's
Awesome.
fluffy for life once you start it.
Superb. And just to get this right, you are Field Marshal Fluffy, is that correct?
Field Marshal Fluffy.
Absolutely wonderful. That is superb. And I would just like now to hand over now to your compadre there, who is wearing a little bit more black than you, but yet still incredibly unicorny and fluffy.
I like to be tactical and fluffy.
Best way to be.
Stealth is, yeah, it's not really going to happen, is it? I am Lieutenant Tinkle Bunny. I got into this thanks to the Field Marshal. He started off with the Speedball League, and as a joke, again, what we're going to call ourselves, Murder Death Squad, kids playing. Yeah, that's not really going to work. As a joke, the fluffy rainbow unicorn soldiers. Although the biggest joke of all, why weren't we the fluffy unicorn rainbow soldiers? The furs. No, we're the FRUS. Yeah, exactly. What can I say about it?
Well, I tell you what, I just want to maybe add to something you've just said, which I guess this is something which I love about the community is that we kind of get out there and we blast each other and we nerf together, but we also acknowledge that ultimately we're playing with toys, so we don't take it too seriously. And I think that's why we're so welcoming, is because it's very, very easy to just plain be you and be a part of the Nerf community as well, which is fantastic. Now, what I would like to do, please, is just very, very briefly, I'd like you to tell us about the events that you participate in, please, Fluffy Unicorns. And then after that, we're going to switch over to talking about, I guess, the nerfing community more generally and the contribution that media can make to that, and especially more modern forms of media. So I'd like you to tell me about your events that you intend to run post-COVID and that you ran pre-COVID, and that you participate in. Sorry, and how you participate. Let's say how you participate.
Over the years, I mean, when we first up Scotland, quite premier. Foam Dart Thunder is one of the biggest ones up here for arranging large events for ourselves, and they're always a great thing to start off with. Things like terminal infection, so the joys of running around a shopping mall with zombies. Dress the unicorn makes it more fun as well, because how often do you see a unicorn running from a zombie?
Zombies are petrified of unicorns.
But then, as well as that, we started doing the Speedball League that the Foam Dart Thunder does as well, which was a great fun thing for just the 5v5 tournaments for it. We'll say they are fast-paced games with a lot of running, and our uniforms are not exactly best to adhere to for that sort of thing, but there's at least one fluffy and full uniform at all times for that. Although you can probably wring the sweat out of it afterwards quite easily.
Well, I think it probably does depend on the venue and the terrain as well. You know, not every camo is suitable for every terrain. I'm quite sure that there's a terrain out there that's entirely suited to your fluffiness.
We are perfectly camouflaged in Candyland, and we have never lost a war in Candyland.
That is
never played one either.
That's not the point. I mean, as a team itself, weirdly enough, however bright and fluffy we actually are, it's not uncommon for myself and Tinkle Bunny of quite regularly we will distract people by being the obvious target. When you're standing behind a giant fluffy shield, people generally just start to assume they'll go for them, because it's pretty hard to miss this thing when you're charging someone towards it with it.
That is the best shield.
But at the same time, some of our groups, one of our groups, Sergeant Sparkles, is quite regularly, she has snuck behind enemy lines without people noticing to capture flags regularly, even dressed just as brightly as we are. Sometimes people just completely ignore us after a while.
And I have to say, I actually nerfed with you guys a Battle of Britain nerf a couple of it's probably getting on for a couple of years ago now, and your fluffiness was incredibly deceiving in terms of its combination with your tactical brilliance. So I have to hand it to you guys on that. So that's brilliant. And would you guys recommend that when lockdown kind of ends, that people get involved in things like Foam Dart Thunder and Speedball? And if they wanted to, how would they find out about it?
I mean, the main thing with the community itself, the Britain Nerf's been wonderful for us to find out what's going on and where to go for things. I will say that things like Foam Dart Thunder have been wonderful as well for doing broadcasting both on Facebook, and as well as that, they also use TikTok as well as a way of actually reaching out to people. For us, it's always keeping an eye on what comes up next for it. I'm still old school. Mailing lists actually work for me still. If someone's going to send an email mailing list, these things, it's far easier for me to follow these. But the main part is just getting involved and actually just don't worry if you've not got a whole lot of friends to go with you. You'll get a whole group that'll do it anyway. The first event we went ourselves as a group. I mean, we walked in and there was a slight fear ourselves of, wait a minute, we are all people in our 30s and 40s and we're standing here with nothing but 8 to 10-year-olds. And we still thoroughly enjoyed it. They thoroughly enjoyed it. And we got more adults wanting to do this as well. It's just for all age groups. It's a great way to get involved.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And you guys mentioned that Foam Dart Thunder on TikTok, actually. And so now I'd just like to switch back over to F2A. And I guess you're on TikTok as well, aren't you? Can you describe to me your experience on TikTok with regards to Nerf? How has kind of Nerf taken off on TikTok recently? Has it been a good experience, a bad experience? Is it something you plan on doing more of?
Oh yeah, it's probably the social media outlet that I've had the most success on. I want to say the content. I have this really love-hate relationship with editing videos, as I found out working on YouTube. So like, whatever it is, and I spend way less time editing them for TikTok than I do for YouTube. It's great. The content, it's hit or miss for me. Other colleagues of mine, like Nerf War Battles and Nerfers 101 on there, they've had much more success when it comes to finding something that strikes a nerve with an audience. Which I mean, it's great. And then you can kind of see what other people are doing, what they're doing, what you can try. I think one of my latest posts did really well. But it's still very much experimental for me, at least. And I've just been having a lot of fun with it, trying to see what hits and what doesn't. And
ultimately, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's making sure you enjoy what you do. Can I just put something controversial to you? And I'm sure we'll get lots of kind of oohs and ahs about this in the chat. But what would you say if I were to say to you that you're not a real nerfer because you're on TikTok, and that people who TikTok about Nerf aren't real nerfers? What would you say to that?
I'd say they're the same. Those are the same people who are telling folks that just because they nerf only with their family in their backyard, they're not real nerfers either. The fact is, we've all got blasters. We're all playing with the toys, and it's not that serious. So, if you have a blaster and you're playing Nerf or you're playing tag with whatever and whatever platform, who are we to gatekeep? It's not cool. It's not cool. It limits our possible audience and makes us look like elitists. It makes us look real bad when we start saying stuff like that. And maybe that are toxic like that. So. No.
Yeah, and I would possibly say as well that part of the reason that we're so inclusive as a community is because we just welcome anyone. And really, it's just what you said. If you pick up a Nerf blaster, if someone picks up a Nerf blaster, they are a potential member of the nerfing community. They may well potentially get involved with Nerf. And in the UK we have this newspaper called The Sun, and I'm going to get a little bit political here. Don't worry, it's not too political. I'm going to get a bit political here. In the UK we have this newspaper called The Sun, and in terms of its editorial content, it's not that brilliant. It doesn't publish groundbreaking stuff, groundbreaking news, but it reaches a wide variety of people. So you get an awful lot of people kind of knowing roughly what's going on in the world. And I would argue that if you look at kind of people with big YouTube followings or big TikTok followings who kind of do that about Nerf, who aren't necessarily directly members of the community, it's still kind of encouraging people to be involved in Nerf and still contributing in some way. And I know that that's different to you because you get involved in the community anyway, right? But people who don't do that, there's also some virtue to having someone out there spreading the word, because in the same way that I watched Coop's videos when I was younger, and I kind of got into Nerf modding a little bit through that, there are people right now who are going to be watching big TikTokers playing with Nerf guns who in a few years' time are going to be our community members. And so I really liked what you said there about just anybody who picks up a Nerf blaster, kind of being part of that and being involved in that. And so yeah, I think that was wonderful. And so what are your plans for the future then? And so just coming into kind of post COVID times and things, are you looking forward, F2A, into getting back into Nerf events? I know you said just now you've got 2-year-olds, and that's something that we've got in common, is that we're both dads of young kids, and it does make it difficult. Are you looking forward to getting involved in nerfing again once it all kicks off again in your sort of region, or has it kicked off again in your region?
Actually, a couple games in Wisconsin. Shout out to the Sheboygan Nerf group and
Love it.
Nerf in North. Milwaukee area Nerf Outings actually has a game coming up in I think a couple weeks. I'll have to see if I can make that on a time or whatever. But yeah, no, games have picked up again. People are starting to confidently post about, okay, we've got our we're adhering to whatever we need to. Let's get together and everyone do what you need to be safe. So yeah, it's encouraging to see. I'm looking forward to getting part of it again. And then I derailed I had someone else I was gonna go with this, but
no worries.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But this is what I was gonna say. The most important, probably the thing I'm looking most forward to, is when my kid's old enough and he can see just the amount of toys Daddy's collected over the years, and it's totally all for him, and he's gonna be able to get to play with everything. But yeah, when he's like 5,
Marshall Fluffy nodding his head there.
I got to record all that and just be like, here, look, it's gonna be like Lion King. Everything the light touches, and even some of that stuff in the corner that's new in box set, yes, that'll be yours too.
And that's quite a significant amount of stuff. Bearing in mind, we're talking about over 15 years worth of stuff, and that was only when you started blogging, right? And so there's probably a few more years before that too. We're gonna maybe talk about some older Nerf gear in just a second. But Field Marshal Fluffy, now, what are you looking forward to most in terms of when lockdown stops?
More than anything else, actually trying out some of the blasters that I actually have lying here that I haven't had a chance to use yet. It's several blasters that I had sitting around for a while, started fixing them up, and it's actually fancy trying to be used in a war. Otherwise, they're just they're gathering dust a little bit until I get them out. Admittedly, it's also getting a chance to actually have the same things. I've got a 3-year-old in the house, and it's him actually get a chance to go out and see what we do as well for the fun of it. Still too young to start firing shots at people, but it'll be a lot of fun nonetheless. The big part is getting to see a lot of the community, because the Brit Nerf community itself, it's been so inviting to get everyone involved that I kind of miss the gatherings and groups we had. And it'd be good to actually get back to it. For the next large event, we all get to actually gather around, socialise as well as shoot each other.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get some practice in for that in just a second. I'm going to throw that question out to Lieutenant Tinkle Bunny as well. So what are you looking forward to most when all this COVID stuff closes down? When it reopens, sorry, what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, again, much like the Field Marshal, to try and keep myself busy during lockdown, I started to look at newer things. Like, I've never done resin casting before. So I like to mod things. Never done resin casting, never done LED work, things like that. And then I built this thing and his little brother. And I've never been able to use them in a war yet. I have no idea whether it actually will be any good.
A massive Raven fan. Big Raven fan.
Yeah, I loved it. I'd never done one before. I always wanted to. I heard the trigger pull was absolutely atrocious. I've looked at so many.
It's true.
Minus the door. But yeah, no idea how well they're going to play. But again, just having, Tron themed blasters just running around, in a unicorn. It's pretty great. But then as well as that, Bob, like, I had never been to any kind of major like Nerf event before. I think the first one I had done was in a skate park with Foam Dart Thunder, and then Terminal Infection.
So just to clarify for those who might not be familiar with Bob, what does Bob stand for and what is it? What do people do to go to Bob? Battle of Brit Nerf.
Battle of Brit Nerf. What do people do there? They have fun. They have tons and tons of fun. I met so many new people I'd like to call friends. We had a blast just chilling around the barbecue after all said and done, going for your McDonald's run, or whoever the kind soul was who would do the dominoes, who had a car. So much fun.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's what to look forward to. Well,
yeah.
I think we really need to get in training for this, and so I guess what I'd like you all to do now is I'd like to give you all an opportunity now to fire something or throw something at the Justajolt target range right here. Okay, so I'd like you all to prepare yourselves with something to throw or something to fire, you can just make a bang noise if you want, and that's okay too. And then we're going to do that one by one, just see what we hit, and see what questions we get out of what we hit. So I guess the first will be last, and the last will be first. So Lieutenant Tinkle Bunny, if you wouldn't mind, please maybe aiming your Raven and saying bang. Unless you've got something else to fire, I'd like you to go first. You ready? You ready, Lieutenant Tinkle Bunny?
You ready?
What have you got? What are you going to throw? Let's see it. What are you throwing? Oh, throwing the tail. Awesome. Let's see it. Let's see it. Ready? On a count of three given by you. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. And you have hit Mr. Dart. All right, you've hit Mr. Dart right there. So I would like to know your favorite Nerf warring moment. Your favorite Nerf warring moment. Can I just say we're going to keep all of these to 1 minute because I've just been given a 3-minute warning.
Sure. So I think that was the last Bob. It was a night mission. Myself and the field marshal to try and distract anyone. They couldn't see us in the dark, so we had a Bluetooth speaker attached to the field marshal playing. I want to say hair metal.
Judas Priest.
Yeah, I remember.
That was as loud as we could.
Guys, you need to come to Battle of Brit Nerf or any Nerf event because these are just moments which are awesome. Fantastic. Okay, now moving on to your first in command, Field Marshal Fluffy. So, Field Marshal, have you got something to use? You ready? So count me down.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, Field Marshal Fluffy has actually managed to hit a tin of premium haggis. So, Field Marshal Fluffy, I would like to know, what is your favourite traditional Scottish food, and why?
It's always a favourite traditional Scottish food. It's sweet, it's creamy, it's got oats in it. What else can you need?
Absolutely fantastic. What else could you need? It's a complete food. It's got everything. And Phone from Above, it seems, is F2A. Sorry, it seems is having some issues in terms of connectivity. So on his behalf, I'm going to throw something at the targets. And Phone from Above has hit. I don't know what. Do you know what? I don't know what Phone from Above has hit, but I just want to say on behalf of Phone from Above, if you're not familiar with this guy, because he's not here to say this for himself and he probably wouldn't. If you're not familiar with F2A and everything he's done, he's been kind of involved with nerfing for a really long time. And basically you need to kind of look him up, maybe go and have a look at his blog posts. And he's a guy who's kind of seen the community change and seen nerfing change over the years. So it's worth going back to his blogs. It's worth following him on TikTok. It's worth following him wherever he is, because he's got a lot of good stuff to say about the community and about Nerf in general. And he really knows what he's talking about. We're talking about a long-standing Nerfer since 2005, which is, absolutely yonks. A lot of respect for the guy. And so if you're a younger Nerfer who isn't familiar with him, go and get a little bit familiar with him, because you can learn an awful lot from these old timers, right? And I think what we'll do now is we'll just play ourselves out with a little bit of music, and after we've done this, Boff can change over. So what we're going to do together is we're all going to sing together to this guitar. All right, and we're all going to sing What's Going On in the next advert, the tune of What's Going On This Week in Nerf. You ready? And you guys in the chat can sing this as well. 3, 2, 1. What's going on in the next advert?
Everyone, swear you're gonna
Hello, Justajolt here again, and we are in it, and we are in the Shonky Shed right now with Team Fancy Pants and Team Tropicana. I just said it's a little bit unfair because we've actually got 3 members of Team Tropicana here, potentially overwhelming a member of Team Fancy Pants. But the thing is that, you know, Fancy Pants do have quite fancy pants. We can hold our own. And so anyway, the first thing we're going to do though is go round and we are going to introduce ourselves, find out who we all are. And what I would like to know is, please, first of all, who you are and what the fanciest item of clothing you have is. No. The fanciest item of clothing and the fanciest blaster as well. And we are going to start off with Hailfire York because you're in the top left of my screen. Hit us, Hailfire York. So, who are you? What's the fanciest item of clothing you have and the fanciest blaster? Go.
Howdy, I'm Hailfire York, flywheel specialist of Tropicana Thunder. I think you can probably guess, you know, I leave the best right here. And as for my blaster, I'm a strive for life. I like to keep it simple. Easy tool, does what it needs to do.
Absolutely phenomenal, and we're going to be testing out your firing skills a little bit later. Let's move on now to Sock Addict.
Hi, Sock Addict, author called Josh. I'm by day I'm a physics teacher as well. I'd say my fanciest item of clothing, well, it would be the shirt, but being a teacher, I do have some pretty fancy kind of space themed ties that I have to wear because I have to wear ties every day. But always, and I'd say my fanciest blaster is my precious Caliburn. That's right with me.
Phenomenal. And we're gonna be seeing something a little bit special later. This Caliburn always gets like a routine kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? A ceremonious discharging whenever we have an event like this. Let's move on now to Sturdy Nerfineer.
I'm Sturdy Nerfineer, Phil, and I'm all about the Ultra Darts.
All about the Ultra Darts. Look at that. Controversial. Have you got any gold Ultra Darts? Or just the black ones?
Oh, yeah, no, I have. Of the Whistlers and of the much maligned and much bullied standard darts on there, but that's about it.
Oh, and I just want to say, Hailfire York there was just shaking his non-ultra darts in the face of the camera, his short darts, and so there might be a bit of banter there later. And then finally, UK Nerf War needs very little introduction. Nevertheless, let's hear it.
No, who knows? Favourite blasters probably at the moment. My Dominator, because it's the one I use the most. Fanciest item of clothing. I do have a rather fetching dressing gown that I'm not going to show you, but that is probably that, to be honest.
That is phenomenal. We are gutted not to see you in the dressing gown. However, that is something that we will forego for now. I just want to ask, sorry. Now, Team Fancy Pants. How did you start, and how long have you been going for?
We've gone about 3.5 years now, and we started because we needed a team, and Marcus Pants being fancy, so that's about it. We always went, yeah, let's do that.
And a representative from Team Tropicana, how long have you been going for, and what inspired you to start?
I think that's for Ryan or Kev to answer, as they are part of the OG. I was joined about 6 months into the team, didn't I?
We're coming up to about... Oh, you want that?
No, you go for it.
Also, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. Time is so weird recently. But the first Battle of Britain, right? 5 chaps, each AFC, all needed a trip up to the first Battle of Britain from London. And we were chatting about our cheesy action movies. We have a big fan of those. And the name Tropic Thunder came along. They say, hey, what if we all had a theme? Maybe we can all wear tropical shirts. So, yeah, that's cool. Tropicana Thunder. That'd be good. And 5 years later, here we are.
So I have a question for you though, Team Tropicana, and it's based on something in the target range right here. So this is Team Fancy Pants official toilet paper. Now, I noticed that you guys mentioned, and I don't want to be too crude about this, but you guys mentioned that you really like to go to KFC. And I was just wondering that despite your rivalry, is there possibly scope for some collaboration? Serious question.
Like Tropicana Thunder toilet paper?
I don't know. I'm just trying to find a way to bring you guys together because I know that you're traditionally Brit Nerf warring factions. So I'm just trying to mediate here.
Well, you know,
Anyway,
Tropicana Thunder B-Day.
You know, sounds like hymns of cluck.
Anyway, just starting to think about, something to think about, and Sturdy Nerfineer. I know that Team Fancy Pants tend to make patches for a variety of different different people and teams around the Brit Nerf community. And I noticed that you've actually got one on your hat right there. There you go. And so which one's that? Which one's that? Hold it up to the camera for us. That's Ninja Pants. That's Ninja Pants.
Got,
and there's also.
Luchador.
Look at that, Luchador pants. Fantastic.
Dr. Flux.
There's a Dr. Flux pants there.
And I'm not finished. Walcom.
Walcom pants.
I know, it's just Dino pants, because why not?
Absolutely.
Also,
well,
got ones for, we have team patches. So, if you're core members of the team, we've got ones for, male, female, non-binary.
Awesome. Gender neutral pants.
Sturdy pants with pink tutu. Don't ask.
That's superb. So I just want to ask at this point then. So could it also be maybe an olive branch if there were to exist, say, a Team Tropicana pants patch, or would that be too far?
We've got designs for Ace, Strike Force, and we've also now done for Fluffy Unicorn Rainbow Soldiers. I hope I've got that right.
So that was an indirect answer to the question. Guys, the war continues. The war continues. Right, we need to move on. What I would like to happen now, please, is I'm going to ask you all a series of questions. However, these questions are going to be based on what you hit in the Justajolt target range. So I would like you all to get some kind of an item to fire or throw at the Justajolt target range. And then I'll ask you a question based on what you hit. Okay, and we're going to start off, the first will be last and the last will be first. So we're going to start off with UK Nerf War, who is selecting, oh my goodness, look at that. That is superb. That is really, really cool.
We're going old
look
school.
At that. Awesome. Fantastic. So that's just what I'd like you to do, please, is count me down from 3. Just so you're aware, sometimes when packets travel through the internet, the data gets broken up, and when it comes back out the camera at my end, it may come out, it may be duplicated in more darts than you've actually fired. So just be aware of that. It's just science. I think Sock Addict will understand. He's a physics teacher. So
it sounds like your transporter buffers are out of whack.
Yeah, probably. So UK Nerf War, if you could count me down from 3 and then open fire.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to get.
And it seems to me, UK Nerf War, like you've just hit a trophy. So what I would like to know is, what is your favourite Nerf warring moment ever? Your favourite Nerf warring moment ever?
Favourite Nerf warring moment ever was probably the first Bob, actually, because that was the first event that I went to where I met so many members of the community that I'd been speaking to online, and it was the first time I met them in the first place. And I made a lot of friends that day. A lot of friends that I've still got today. So that was probably my best moment.
And I guess I just want to ask as well, how long have you actually been involved with the Brit Nerf community? And I know this is a question that all of us here know. Well, maybe not know the answer to, but we're all aware that it's a long time. For the benefit of those maybe younger viewers of this stream who've been nerfing for less amount of time, how long have you been involved in the Brit Nerf community for?
I've been nerfing now for about 16 years.
About 16 years, and so you're kind of an OG. You're on the sort of lines of F2A. Sorry.
Yeah. OG.
And I know
it makes me feel really old.
No, in a really, really good way. And I also want to ask as well. Now you didn't say anything about Brit nerfing. You said you've been nerfing since. How did Brit nerf start? Or when did Brit Nerf start?
Well, Brit Nerf, the forum started about is it 10 or 11 years ago now, and it was just a forum, and it had been going for about a year when I found it, and it was basically dead. So I joined it and just started sort of firing up some conversations, and it just grew from there.
And now here we are with events all over the country. If it wasn't COVID, events happening all over the country before COVID, and so I just wanted to let people know who maybe not have been aware that right here we have Kevin Boulard, who was quite instrumental in making the Brit Nerf community what it is today. And even though the community is more than one person, sometimes it does take a bit of a catalyst to get an event started or to get something going on. So now we're going to move on to Sturdy Nerf in Ear, and I would like you please to fire at the camera, at your camera if you wouldn't mind, with any blaster that you'd like. Super.
Sure, obviously.
Oh, did you fire?
Yeah.
Oh, there might be a bit of delay. There's a bit of delay. There you go. Right, and you've hit the Nerf Fortnite rocket launcher. And I would like to know, please, a serious question. What is your favourite Nerf Fortnite blaster?
The combat shotgun. I don't know which, the red and blue, the red and white one. It takes mega darts.
I can't believe you don't know the names of Fortnite blasters. That's sacrilege.
I'm old.
The TS, good choice. Okay, Hailfire York, if you wouldn't mind. So I want you to get yourself ready with a piece of kit and get ready to fire.
Let's do this.
Okay, count me down.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, and you've hit the only use official Nerf darts target right here. Hailfire York, can you please give me 15 good reasons to only use official Nerf darts?
No. Let's see. You make it easier for the enemy team. You want to nerf yourself a little bit. You don't want to be too powerful.
And that's important.
Yep, spend loads of money. So, you get to flex. Oh, yeah, I'm buying official Nerf darts, I'm going to say, I'm not going to give you 15, but, you're lucky for that.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the point made right there. And finally, right, I've actually saved you, Socadec, till last, right, because I've got a funny feeling that when you start firing, you're not going to be able to stop.
Well,
so
that was a worry for me, so I decided to do the single shot Mega Dart in my Aeon Pro rather than getting the Caliban out right away. If you want to do,
okay, no, that's fine. In that case, that's fine. Do that, and then we'll get to that. So, just count me down.
3, 2, 1, fire.
Okay. You've managed to hit llama. And so the obvious question here is, what is your favourite subatomic particle and why?
There's too many. I'd probably say it'd probably have to be just simply the up quark. It's a bit classic.
Up quark.
It's one of the OG classics. It's always positive. And, you need them in everything.
Absolutely right. I'd agree with that. And that is, there's definitely no denying that. And just talking about up quarks as well, I would just like to highlight the degree to which the amount donated to Papyrus today has gone up. All right. I'd just like to draw everyone's attention to the fact that we're now at £2,599.96, which is 260% above our target, and that's kind of what the Nerf community does. It's a brilliant cause that we're donating to today. It's been a really, really hard couple of years, and an organisation that works for the prevention of young suicide is absolutely wonderful. And I love the way the Nerf community comes together. And I guess I just want to spend a couple of minutes now talking about what you think makes the Nerf community. We can talk about the Brit Nerf community, but the Nerfing community at large. What makes us what makes it great? What do you like about it, and what makes it great? And I guess let's just have this in a kind of open conversation format where you can just throw in anything you want to say about it. And I guess I'll kind of start the ball rolling with this by saying that I really feel like Nerf is something that you can do no matter who you are, no matter what you bring to the table. There's going to be something there for you. It's like I like to come to a Nerf war, run around with a small Nerf blaster like this, and be ridiculous and tag people, and then make silly videos about it afterwards, right? And there's a place for me there. Kevin is a modder. Also, like I say, a catalyst for actually getting the community going back in the day as well, for reinvigorating the community, shall we say? And there's a place there for that. What is it that you guys really, really like about the Nerfing community?
I mean, do you mind if I jump in first? Because I'm probably one of the newest members to the Nerfing community for Tropicana Thunder. Within Tropicana, I started Nerfing, was that January 2017, and my reasoning was I grabbed a cyclone shock to try and teach some physics in a lesson.
Awesome.
Sorry, my headset shut itself off.
No problem.
And so for me, and then from there, it went everywhere. It just kind of escalated as it does, to where I'm quite well ensconced in the team now, and a bit of reputation among Britner. So it's an incredibly welcoming community at all levels. I still remember, I've still got distinct memories of the first Nerf war I turned up to, which was also the first time I met Hailfire York, when he turned up with a Mastodon he'd thrifted that morning at a park in Hendon, and I had a 2S rewired Demolisher and still had a bunch of random mags, whereas today it's like I run around with and even back then like the level of I could be competitive with something that was a fairly basic mod and a bunch of random bits and pieces, and yet now I can run around with my highly customized tack gear and everything else as part of a team. But actually, it's still just as much fun back then as it is now, and sort of the welcoming sense of community and everything. It's been absolutely brilliant to be part of it and to see the growth of it.
And I think that's great to have the perspective of someone who's I'm not going to say a new member, because you're not, but like somebody who's got clear memories of like their first kind of few times at Britnerf events. Anyone like to add anything to that? Hailfire York, your experience with the Mastodon seems to have made quite an impression on Sock Addict here, and inspired him in some way. So what would you say is your favourite, or one of your favourite aspects of being involved with the Nerfing community?
Or just like trip down memory lane. Was that the day when it was really raining at Saturday Skirmish?
I don't think so. It might have rained a bit, but I can't. I mean, that was like.
I really stood out to you.
That was my first time turning up to a Britnerf event. Sorry, I interrupted. What'd you say?
Oh no problem. I was just saying the brilliance of nerfing just kind of made the rain be completely insignificant.
That's it, yeah. Nerf is just brilliant. Everyone has had a Nerf blaster at some point in their life. It's just some of us are lucky enough to find out about games that are out there that we can go to.
I mean, we've got so much on offer. Sorry.
And there's no problem. We've got so much to offer, and there's probably a lot more people out there who would love to know about and would love to participate if they were aware and that it was actually a thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've just from Britnerf, I've played in so many awesome venues. Everything from I've been to malls both in the southeast, but also I've been to one of the FDT Terminal Infection events up in Scotland. When was that? A few years ago. To things like the Caves, the Game of Foam Access, things like FFS over in Warminster, Splatoon, high FPS events, to just park games. It's just been so incredible just what we have to offer. I've dragged quite a few friends to events before and they've all enjoyed it. Some to the point where they're considering getting into it, others where they're like, yeah, it was fun, but probably not for me. But a lot, I'd say more people who come along to them actually want to come back.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Sturdy Nerfineer, what do you enjoy about the nerfing community, and maybe what got you involved in it? What made you start? But more, what do you enjoy about it?
Well, what I enjoy is the fact that you go to a toy shop in the morning, pick up a totally bog standard dart blaster, and then just turn up to a war and you just be instantly welcomed. And people will shoot you all day. You run around like an idiot. It's it's like a family, really. I mean, if else, I think I've met lifelong friends by joining the community. And people, you're having a bad day and you just talk about, your day or whatever. It doesn't have to be entirely Nerf, or you just want to build something stupid. And people just go, yeah, just build something stupid. That seems like a really good idea. Like this stupid thing on the arm.
Absolutely, superb. And so I guess before we move on to Sock Addict firing off his ceremonial weapon of joy, I'd like to ask Kevin as well. What would you say to someone who's thinking about starting up a Nerf event, or who's kind of seeing this and thinking, do you know what, I'd really like to do this, but they don't have an event nearby them? What would you suggest they do?
I think start small. Starting an event is possibly one of the most frightening things about the hobby, because there's always like that. What if nobody turns up? But my advice to people who want to start an event is, post an event, get some friends together, post an event. If nobody else turns up, then you've just had, a couple of hours fun playing in the park with your friends. But if people do turn up, then you start something and it could become something quite special. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be,
It doesn't have to be a bit fancy.
Everything's fancy if you nerf it right. But
an attack.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be, you see all of these amazing venues that people put together, but it doesn't have to be that. It can be your local park. It can, it can be someone's backyard.
Absolutely.
The great thing about this hobby is you can do it absolutely anywhere, and you have just as much fun.
And then before you know it, you're wearing a hat with Nerf darts everywhere on your head, and you're having a great time before you know it.
Yeah, before you know it, there's a uniform, and you're making stupid patches, and you got like outrageous outfits.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you guys remember the time I went to FFS in a bunch of onesies?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My onesie doesn't fit anymore, unfortunately. I've eaten too much cake to ever wear that again.
Well, I think it's a bit of time that we burnt off some calories here as well. So what we're going to do now is have Sock Addict doing his mag dump. And for those of you who aren't familiar, what's the significance of this? Why? I mean, emptying a Nerf blaster of darts isn't actually a difficult thing, right? So why is this so difficult, Sock Addict? What's the big deal with this?
Oh, apologies. My RAM's just come out.
Oh no!
Literally.
No!
I might have to get literally the RAM's just stuck in there.
What are the chances? What are the chances?
That sounds a little too convenient to me.
No, I've got a Talon Claw, although that's a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit work in progress at the moment. I need a hacksaw for that.
It's really hard to prime and stuff, but what I think we might do instead is possibly let's all have a melee war. Let's all have a quick melee war with each other over camera just to end this section of the stream. So I'd like you all to grab some kind of a melee weapon or something that you wouldn't mind fighting with. Okay, I know we don't really do melee in Brit Nerf, which weird, but I want. Oh, that is wonderful. That is superb. We've got.
I don't do melee.
And then we're going to get everybody in chat to say who they think the winner of this war is, depending on how we fight. Okay, you ready? So it says there's a network error on my screen here, but we're going to do this anyway. So starting in 3, 2, 1, go! That's a fancy. Come on, guys, who's the winner? In 3, 2, 1. And the battle's over. So hopefully now the chat's going to fill up. And so we have a vote for Sturdy Nerf in here. You've got one saying the guy with the mace always wins. And I'm sure we'll get more. And I'm sure we'll get more. And Suzanne Fancy Pants is arguing for a draw. I don't know. I think that maybe Fancy Pants is getting a little bit. What's the word? A little bit insecure there, and so that's why they're calling for a draw. Anyway, guys, that is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm really, really looking forward to getting back to nerfing with you guys again. I really, really miss it. And yeah, looking forward to another Battle of Brit Nerf and doing things. Absolutely superb. And so what I think we'll do is we'll just play ourselves out by dancing to Coop's intro music, and then Boff can turn it off whenever he wants. So Coop's intro music is coming right up now. There we go.